On this episode of the show, we're going to talk about all about estate taxes. Creating wealth, protecting families, building legacy. This is the Rich Life Lawyer Show. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 29 of the Rich Life Lawyer Show. I am your host, as always, Christopher Small. I'm the owner of CMS Law Firm, estate planning attorney extraordinaire, or wannabe, depending on who you talk to. But nevertheless, I am here to talk to you today about estate taxes, at least in Washington State, by the way. So I have to give myself a little caveat here. Yeah, we are talking about estate taxes in Washington State. The reason for that is that Washington State has its own state estate tax that is much lower than the federal amount. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. But before we even talk about estate taxes, we need to talk about what your estate is comprised of. A lot of people don't understand what makes up their estate, and so they believe they have way, way less assets than they really do. So let's talk about that. Your estate basically comprises of everything that you own of value. Okay? So the easy ones, right, are like your home, the value that's in your home, bank accounts, retirement accounts, cars, personal property, jewelry, anything like that. All of that counts. But what also counts is life insurance. What also can count is your pension, which counts as retirement accounts. But in Washington State, and in Seattle in particular, it's pretty easy to get up to that threshold, that $2 million threshold, where you start to pay estate taxes. Think about it like this. My wife and I, we own a home, probably has, I don't know, a couple $100,000 in equity at least, probably more since the real estate market's just been going crazy. We both have life insurance policies of, I don't know, $1 million a piece probably. I don't know what the exact number is. We have retirement accounts. You know, I own a business. We have cars. We have things, right? So getting to $2 million happens pretty quickly. And once you do that, that's when the estate taxes start to kick in. Now, why do we even have estate taxes? A couple of reasons. The main reason, if you talk to the government, is that they want to try to prevent the hoarding and building up of wealth in families. So they want to eliminate or reduce the possibility of passing along enormous, vast sums of money to people, and then those people end up just not having to do anything forever. Think about, maybe like the Rockefellers or the Carnegies, depending on who you ask or who you talk to or who you listen to. You want to try to prevent that continuing succession of wealth and distribute it amongst the people. The second reason is that, it's an easy way for the government to get some money, right? Because you're dead. So they will, there's not really a lot of people to complain at that point. Your heirs, obviously, but it's an easy win for them. So, and it's rich people too, right? So we're talking about taking money from people that have over $2 million in net worth. That is actually a relatively large segment of the population. But when you compare it to everyone else, when you compare it to the rest of the world, it's very, very small part of the population. So let's talk about these taxes real quick. The way the taxes work in Washington State, it's kind of stepped up depending on where your net worth is. So from 0 to 2 million, you don't owe any estate taxes. Once you get from 2 million to 3 million, you have to pay a 10% tax. So if you have $3 million in net worth, then you are going to be paying $100,000 to Washington State for your estate taxes. The simple math, at least. Once you get to between $3 million and $4 million of net worth on that, and it's going to get confusing, but you got to imagine that for each $1 million, there's a different tax amount. Okay, so from $2 million to $3 million, it's a 10% tax. From 3 million to 4 million, it's a 14% tax. From 4 million to 5 million, it's a 15% tax, but only on that $1 million. Okay? So for example, if you have $4 million, from 2 million to 3 million, you are paying 10%, so $100,000. From 3 million to 4 million, you're paying 14%, so $140,000. So if you have $4 million of net worth, you're paying $240,000 in taxes. Yikes. So it gets pretty big pretty fast. Then once you get from 4 million, and once you get up to 5 million, on that next $1 million, you're paying 15% tax. So you would go up on $5 million, you would be paying $390,000 in taxes. And once you go from 5 to 6, then all sorts of craziness starts to happen, because not only do you have to pay tax in Washington State, but you start to have to pay federal estate tax too. That's no good. Okay, so part of what I try to do is strategize with clients to either reduce what that net worth number is at the end of your life, or do some other estate planning strategies to move the money around to make sure that it's not counted or that it doesn't have to be paid when estate tax time comes. But that's sort of a very general breakdown of the way that estate taxes work. There'll be more to come later. I'll try to give these like one step at a time. Start with the basic stuff and then get in after that. But just know, if your estate's over $2 million, you are potentially looking at some payment to the man. All right? So I think that's going to be it for today. Hope you enjoyed this episode of the Rich Life Lawyer Show. Once again, I'm Christopher Small, CMS Law Firm. If you have a question, if you want me to answer a question here on the show, email me, chris@cmslawfirm.com. Call me, 206-659-1512. I'd love to hear from you, and I will definitely answer your questions. Talk to you soon. Bye.